Hi everyone, thank you for coming this evening. We'll just wait about 5 minutes just to let people kind of come in and then we'll begin. So a few more people have just come in. So just to say again, we'll just start at 5 past, just to wait for people to trickle in. Okay, I feel like that's the longest 5 minutes ever, so we will just get on with this evening, I think. Okay. So, hello everyone, I hope you are all keeping well. As you would have seen when you came into the meeting, this meeting has actually been recorded just for minutes and purposes, and so it can also be shared on our platform if needed. So live captioning is available for anyone who wants it. If it hasn't come up on your screen, you just have to click the live transcript at the bottom. If you have any questions, please pop them in the Q&A section at the bottom of your screen. We will endeavour to answer all your questions, and any questions that aren't answered, we'll put them in a blog post on the SU website for you. Just to say, if we have any society members here, please email Jerry. Any reps, please email Thomas Watson, and any sports committee members, please email Georgia or Thomas. So again, thank you very much for coming this evening. I will now pass over to Katie and Georgia. No, I won't. I will go through our student forum agenda. That's what I'll be doing. So housekeeping, I've began with the housekeeping. I've done that. We'll then go over to Katie and Georgia, who will go through the officer update over the February and March period. We'll then go over to our AGM roundup, as we had an AGM a few weeks back. Our elections overview, as some of you will know, we had our elections and we've now elected 6 full-time officers and 11 part-time officers. I will then go over an SU update post-Easter. Liza will touch on plans for student safety, as it's a big thing amongst the student body and our community at the moment. And then Alpha, our general sec, will take us onto officer question time. So we shall begin. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Katie, the current Marshall Affairs Officer, and I'm just going to run through some of the office updates for February and March. So Fionn has recently submitted an outdoor social space proposal, and for this she wrote a proposal which has been taken to the COVID operational group, and it will now be taken to the senior leadership team for approval. And the proposal outlines the need for an outside social space on both campuses for students who are returning back over the Easter holidays and the new academic term. So many students will not feel comfortable socialising indoors, and with social distancing in place, we need more space for students. She also attended a student sex worker training session, and which will enable her to further collaborate with the university to make people more aware of this and the support available for student sex workers. Georgia has continued to run her weekly mental health and sports workshops and has given teams the tools to implement welfare officers on their teams. And she's been working on implementing the engaged strand of the Sports Swansea Active University strategy. And the first edition of the SUSU Sports Good newsletter came out for January and February. So on my end, I've launched the Welsh Wednesdays podcast, which has been out for a few weeks now, and there's 2 episodes out and another one will be launched tomorrow, and that'll be out every week at 1 p.m. And I also submitted a motion to NUS Wales recently, which was on mandatory sexual consent education for all students in further education and higher education, and I'm pleased to say that this was passed with an overwhelming majority and will be implemented within the NUS. So I'll now pass on to Georgia Rose.
Thank you, Katie. Hi everyone, I'm Georgia Rose and I'm the current Societies and Services Officer. So I have the remaining updates from Liza. So Liza has launched a virtual period poverty campaign where students are able to order sanitary products for free. So obviously at the moment they cannot necessarily go onto campus and access the free ones that we usually provide. So Liza has worked really hard to offer an online platform to provide this. As well as this, she's worked on some amazing work to get a food voucher scheme available for students who have experienced hardship as a result of the pandemic. Teresa has been very busy running college engagement sessions that allow students to influence their learning and teaching for next year. She has also been busy training the reps in January. Now, from my side, I've been working on a society committee reward scheme that I'm hoping to launch after Easter, and I've also been working with the full-time officers to launch the union's first endometriosis awareness campaign. Now I'm going to hand over to Georgia, who will go through the AGM roundup.
Thank you, Georgia Rose. Thanks, Katie. So our annual general meeting took place on February the 16th, 2021. And this was our first virtual AGM, and to facilitate this, we held it on a Zoom webinar. We recorded it and made it available on our AGM event on Facebook and was shared on our SU Facebook page. The AGM covered a full overview of the SU finance report and expenditure, as well as a detailed trustees report from Fionn. We also touched upon the great work of all of our part-time officers and what we as a full-time officer team have been up to. The AGM gives the Students' Union the chance to make all of its work transparent and open to its members to view and access. And the recording is still on our SU Facebook page. So I'm now going to hand over to Teresa.
Thank you very much, Georgia. So I will go over the elections overview. So the elections came to a close on Thursday, 11th of March, and the results were announced on Friday, 12th of March, through a series of videos from the SU Facebook page. In total, we had 41 candidates going for 17 different full-time and part-time positions. So the SU had to hold this year's election through a completely virtual format, and the candidates adapted very well to this online platform. Well done to all of them. The March election results are as follows. The full-time elected officers are President Katie Phillips, Education Officer Karis Jones, Societies and Services Officer Georgia Rose Glisson, Sports Officer Georgia Smith, Welsh Affairs Officer Gwen Darvis, Welfare Officer Liza Leibowitz. Part-time officers, the part-time officers that were elected are Black and Minority Ethnic Officer Jeevan Mann, Environment Officer Kira Atkins, Ethics Officer Oysim Mulholland, General Secretary Manu Marshall, International Officer Lavisa Friedels, LGBT plus Singleton Officer Kieran Basin, Mature Students Officer Liz Sanders, Mental Health Awareness Officer Rivaldo Fernandez, Students with Disabilities Officer Chloe Morgan, Trans and Non-Binary Officer Rosa Williams, and the last but not the least, Women's Officer Abigail Bergeron. So it's important for us to note that the total number of votes was at 1,692, and the total number of votes amounted to, the total number of voters was at 1,692, and the total number of votes amounted to 18,496. So it was really great for the SU to see students still engaging with the SU elections. And throughout the elections, the SU also decided to make a donation of £1,000 through their partnership with Costco to the Swansea Food Bank. I'll now hand over to Fionn, who will go over our post-Easter plans.
Okay, thanks, T. So you should have all now received communication from the university stating that from the 19th of April, the current teaching arrangements will continue online, and there will be some face-to-face teaching for those who have been asked to return for pedagogical reasons to campus. So assessments will continue to be online for the majority of programmes, so some exceptions do apply, and your college or school will have communicated this directly with you. As you will know now, they have been adapted to ensure that they've been effective, they can be taken effectively either online or through a different type of assessment than a formal written examination to ensure all students are able to achieve their best. So the Students' Union have flagged the rent rebate situation with the university as the extension for the January, February, March kind of period is now coming to an end. So now there are now ongoing discussions around this and the extension of it for students who will not return to Swansea and will not want to return to Swansea. So we shall update you on this once we have further discussions with the university. So in order to ensure that there are provisions for students on campus, Katie has just touched on this on the update. So when students do return post-Easter, we have submitted a bid for £60,000 to the university, which will either be approved or declined tomorrow. So we'll know tomorrow if we've been lucky or not. So we're proposing an outdoor social space on both campuses, so one on Singleton and one on Bay, where students can socialise and there'll be catering provisions available. Many students will not feel comfortable going into inside areas now because of, obviously because of COVID and many of people our age not having vaccinations. And obviously with social distancing still in place, there will be less capacity, and we need to ensure there is enough social areas where students can have breaks from Zoom lectures and actually socialise with each other. So we understand that Bay campus is extremely isolating with only Tesco open. So we are now wanting to open Tavern Tower up and provide a takeaway provision to students studying and living there. And with Singleton, we are looking to purchase a container, which will be done up as a takeaway also, and there'll be picnic benches within a perimeter, all decorated to be an inviting space for students to socialise with each other. As Teresa's touched on, she has been holding Learning and Teaching Look into the Future events, and we've had some amazing feedback from students about the things that they want to keep and ensure that are kept for future years to do with their learning and teaching. So some things like ensuring that all lectures are recorded, has been really helpful for them to look back at them, and things that haven't really worked this year, so for instance Zoom breakout rooms. So we will feed all this back now to the university and ensure that the voices of students are heard. So that's my update post Easter. I will now pass on to Liza.
Okay, thank you so much, Fionn.
So hi everyone, I'm Liza and I'm your welfare officer for Swansea Students' Union. So I'm going to be discussing student safety. So I'll give a quick trigger warning just in the beginning. I'm going to be covering themes of abuse and sexual violence / misconduct. So you can mute me now if you'd like. And when I'm done speaking, I'll just give a signal, put my thumb up and you can unmute me. So I'll start off by just saying student safety is at the heart of all of us currently. And we obviously want you to know that we're here for you and we hear that you're concerned. And we're working super hard to find new initiatives to better your student safety. So over the last few months, we've been working with multiple departments to tackle this issue, and they're all listed in the next slide. So we know how important it may be to be transparent about the work that's currently being undertaken. As such, I'll be covering what each department is currently doing regarding student safety, specifically concerning all the recent incidents in the Swansea community against women. This isn't exhaustive, but it's fully informative for all our students. So I'll start off with the Students' Union. So we've undergone multiple initiatives, including providing free personal safety alarms to all students to be picked up from Bay Campus and Singleton Campus with the help of my Uni Hub in distribution. I've also been looking into organizing self-defense classes, utilizing our sports teams and some external companies. Your Society Services Officer and myself will continue our monthly consent trainings, and our next one is actually happening tomorrow, so please attend if you can. And we'll also be introducing some women allyship workshops to better the understanding and intervention schemes that students could utilize to protect our women within the community. We've also been reworking our sexual violence and misconduct policies, so this is both within the university and the union. We have created a relationship with an organization called Live Fear Free. So this is a government run helpline, which provides amazing support to those who have experienced or are currently experiencing abuse. They've provided us with some everyday products, which have important information on them if you ever need support, and we'll be distributing these when regulations allow us to. Your Societies and Services Officer and myself, again, will be putting together a trauma resource to go up on our union website as a permanent resource. The next department I'll cover is Campus Life, so namely welfare and community at Campus Life. So our welfare team and myself worked to provide a student safety campaign over the last few months. So they've also been working and keeping in regular contact with Public Health Wales to ensure that there's support for students who have endured cases of sexual violence and misconduct. Campus Life have also been continuously running their listening service, in which anyone who needs a space to speak to someone is always welcome. Our community at Campus Life team have been running a student safety survey within our community and have been actually going out within the community to speak to students and offer support alongside the police. They've also been promoting the reporting of conflict and instances of feeling unsafe or threatened and any other incidents in the community. To delve on that just a little bit deeper, we would like to encourage students to report any times you purely feel unsafe within the community. It doesn't need to be escalated, just any time you feel unsafe, please report it to the police so that we can better resources, but I'll touch on that a little bit later as well. So branching off from Campus Life, I'll start talking about student services. So our Director of Student Services is kept in regular contact with South Wales Police to support students who have encountered harassment or abuse of any kind. This is so that we can ensure that they're being supported adequately through the university as well as within these community departments. So this has been a key pillar of support for our students, and I commend the work that's been done here. Our Director of Student Services has also remained in constant contact with relevant departments throughout the last couple of months. I will now go on to speak about security. So our security team have worked tirelessly through Safe Zone to best support our students. They have been utilizing this free university app to assist students who need support within the community and our campuses. Our security team also raised the issues of student safety within Singleton Park and potential adjustments going forward to the council. The next department I will speak on is South Wales Police. So it's been really important for us to work with organizations like South Wales Police and the council, as it's quite difficult for us as a university to tackle community safety alone due to our own barriers. As such, South Wales Police have maintained regular communication and support with myself from the union and the university, and they have increased the level of foot patrols within the community, specifically around heavily student occupied areas. They have also had presence within Singleton Park from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. every day, with the timing of this to be revisited when clocks change. I commend the work that's being done here, considering how under-resourced South Wales Police have been, and I'd like to provide insight to please report any instances that you encounter in the community so that we can work to better these resources going forward. They've also been offering free personal safety alarms as well as door and window alarms for people within the community. Second to last, I will talk about the council. So quite a lot of members from the university and myself raised student safety concerns to the council, specifically but not limited to Singleton Park, and they've been really helpful in their support with taking up these matters arising. Firstly, we have the lighting issue. So the council have agreed to work with us going forward to increase the lighting resources in Singleton Park and work out the management of which going forward. So we're waiting, sorry, the background's mad noisy. We're waiting crucial information about finances to achieve this, but it looks really, really positive thus far. We will also be in the park this Friday to assess the positioning of CCTV and the shrubbery that's sometimes utilized by perpetrators. They have agreed to promote all our community initiatives, and we will be working really closely with them going forward. Finally, last but not least, we have student initiatives. So we've had so many students stepping up to support their fellow students in such trying times. It was so important for me to mention you just to let you know that your work is not going unnoticed, and we appreciate everything you've achieved thus far. From providing platforms for people to seek solace and support, to creating community initiatives such as buddy walk schemes, to creating societies, to pushing the union to educate students on women allyship. I'm proud of our Swansea students, and I'll end off by saying a huge thank you and let you know to keep up all the good work. So we're going to now pop in the chat all of these support information of the different support services that we offer, because obviously we've discussed quite heavy topics. And I'm now going to pass over to Alpha, who will lead us on our officer question time.
Thank you, Liza. So hi, I'm Alpha, the General Secretary this year, and as Liza mentioned, I'll be leading on the next part of the forum, which is the question and answers, where the FTOs will be answering your questions. As Fionn mentioned at the start of the forum, we will try to get through all your questions, but any that we won't have answered will be recorded and they will be put on a blog post on the SU website. So please remember, if you have many more questions, please pop them into the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen. So the first question is for Teresa. Do you know when the postponed graduations were likely to take place?
Thank you very much, Alpha. I know everyone is really concerned about the announcement on the postponed graduations, but we're really sad, and unfortunately we will not be able to celebrate your achievements like we always do through in-person graduations, and that's because the university is trying to adhere to Welsh government guidelines, and they have had to take this very difficult decision to postpone graduations to whenever possible. However, I know many of our officers for next year have earned the manifesto to ensure that graduations are in place for students who have not been able to celebrate. So I hope that sort of answers that question.
Thank you, T. So there's no more questions in the Q&A, so if you do have any, please pop them in, but otherwise I'll pass back to you, Fionn.
Brilliant, thank you, Alpha. Does anyone have any questions for us? It can be around anything you want, just pop them in the Q&A section. We'll wait just a few more minutes. Okay, well, if you don't have any questions, that's absolutely fine. If you do think of anything, please message our Students' Union Facebook page or our Swansea SU Instagram page or the SU offices page, and we shall answer your questions straight away to the best of our ability. But thank you very much for attending this evening. I hope you've found it helpful. Might have been a bit of an information overload, but there's some key and critical things kind of being, informed to you today. So thank you very much, and diolch yn fawr, a nos da.